Well, stories with a natural family planning started the visit with the doctor for a checkup. I went for a checkup, and a nurse asked me if I knew that there was a natural way of plan your family, and I didn't know anything about it. So she suggested that I go to a Catholic library store and get a book about the Billings method. At that point, we were not married, so we bought the book, but I could not understand anything. And what I think is that it wasn't the right moment. So how can I be learning something that was not supposed to be using at that time? So a little bit later, we got married, and the doctor I was seeing at that time said, well, the pill is really bad for you. You cannot use the pill. It could cause you cancer, so it's not recommended for you to use the pill. So we decided not to use anything hormonal because it will be bad for my health. And a few months after we got married, we saw another at the church for a class of Billings method. So we decided to go and take the class.
As we were learning, using the temperature and combined with the mucus and then the transition, like, well, this makes so much sense, and everything came so clear, like where we were. The abstinence it wasn't that crazy anymore because we were able to identify so many fertile times. And then, so that changed me. I was like, boy, this makes sense now. Let's learn this thing. But then on top of that, and most important was that they started teaching about the theology of the body. And again, it was something like, it was the first time that we heard that teaching in that way, to that deep, to the really what sexuality means. And the 5 characteristics of love and whatnot. And like, wow, this is amazing. So by the grace of God, we conceived. She got pregnant, and then after my daughter was born, my life changed. When the first time I saw her, it just it was something I could not explain or experience ever before. It was I felt something. I didn't know I was able to feel the love, that kind of love for somebody else. Not even, in a love, Maria, of course, but it's just different. It's unbelievable. And I was, and again, that's like I said, I didn't know I could love that way. So it changed everything.
We met again in a gathering with other families, and at that gathering there was an instructor of NFP. And she saw that I was nursing, and she said, do you know that nursing will allow you to be infertile for 6 months? And I said, oh, I didn't know that. So she lent us the book by John Kipling, and we read the book, I think in 2 days, because we were having trouble putting our baby to sleep. So it was amazing. It completely changed our way of thinking of raising children. So we read the book, we learned about the syntothermal method, and later on we were invited to take the class.
Then there was the need that they needed a teaching couple, because the couple that was teaching, that taught us, it was the only couple around, and they were retiring. So our friends were like, well, why don't you become teachers? So again, they kind of twisted our arms, and we said yes, and we went for it. But again, yeah, even getting the certification was kind of fun. It was something we did together. We sat, I remember the living room. We spent hours reading the book to each other, doing charts, sending them over the mail. With no internet at that time, at least not for us. But it was fun. It was good. And then, and again, it was something that we felt it was an apostolate. It was something that God was calling us to do. We became teachers because we wanted to share this with other couples and the joy that they can experiment if they live their sexuality the way God intended it to be.